All right, guys, welcome and welcome back to Bake It Up. We are live again. Today we will be making a new recipe as a part of a series dedicated to DOLCESALATO, Italian baking. Today we will be making Cannolata, which is basically a Cannoli Siciliani recipe made in a cup. So very easy to make, super light, it has a great mousse consistency. It's perfect for the summer. All right, guys, for today, we need a few ingredients. As I said, we will not be making cannoli shells. This is a recipe that is very easy to make. You don't have to make the dough, you don't have to fry the dough. You can buy the shells, you can also use this as a filling, but this is specifically for a cup, like it's a dessert in a cup. So the filling is actually a ricotta based filling, of course, and it's very light and airy. You have to eat it fresh, so once again, perfect for the summer, but really for any season. And there are different ways to make this kind of filling. You can just use ricotta cheese. In this case, for this recipe, we are using ricotta cheese, whipping cream, sugar, some candied orange, chocolate chips, and so on. But we are also using custard. So today, I'm going to show you how to make custard. I will take this as an opportunity to show you how to make custard. It is going to make this filling even more rich and creamy, but because I know that a lot of people don't like eggs in their recipe, you can substitute the custard with mascarpone cheese. It's totally fine. But for the filling, we have ricotta cheese. We have some sugar, of course, icing sugar. We are going to use whipping cream, some nuts, in this case, pistachios, because yes, you know, cannoli comes with pistachios. That is up to you if you don't want to add it, but we have some candied cherry. We have chocolate chips. I'm using mini chocolate chips because those desserts are pretty small, and this is the size of the cups that we are going to use today. This is 5 ounces, and some candied orange here. But as I said in the recipe, if you like, you can also use orange zest. It is important to go with candied orange because, once again, just like pistachios and candied cherries, this is one of the main ingredients in the cannoli filling. So we are going to use candied orange today. So for the custard, we need milk. Here I have some milk that I'm bringing to a simmer on medium heat. We are going to add a little bit of vanilla, sorry, to give some extra flavor. And I'm using here vanilla Madagascar. As I always say, make sure that you use some good quality. So this is pure extract. Please don't use artificial. And then we are going to zest some lemon here. And this is also very important because in pastry cream, the combination of lemon and vanilla, it makes the cream absolutely delicious. If you really want to achieve a great vanilla pastry cream, just make sure you add vanilla and lemon as well. Also keep in mind, with cannoli, we also want some kind of a citrus taste. So this is absolutely perfect for our recipe today. You want to make sure that you don't zest the white part because this is going to make your custard bitter. This is also very important. Now, while we wait for the milk, we will be taking care of the eggs and the sugar. Here I have sugar And my eggs that I'm going to add only the last minute. Make sure you don't add sugar, you don't combine sugar and eggs and you let it sit, because it will develop some lumps and it's going to be very hard to get rid of those. So always add eggs and sugar together the last minute. Okay, so now we're gonna give it a whisk until nicely combined. We don't have to whip this egg mixture, because in this case we don't want to develop any air. For the custard, we are looking for, when we make custard, we are looking for a cream. So we don't need to develop any air. So we're just gonna make sure that we are giving a good stir, and those two ingredients, eggs and sugar, are combined. Let me double check first that this is cornstarch. Can't remember, they look exactly the same. Yes, it is cornstarch. All right, here we want achieve some pretty dense pastry cream, because this cream combined with the ricotta and the whipping cream is really going to hold this filling together. Otherwise, you are going to end up with some runny filling. So this is why we add a good amount of cornstarch. Now we are going to do what is called tempering. And tempering means adding the hot milk slowly to the eggs. If we add the milk all in once, we are going to shock the eggs, and we are you are going to end up with getting scrambled eggs. We don't want that. We want to make sure that this stays nice and creamy, because when the eggs go higher to 85 degrees Celsius, they cook. So they scramble. We are not looking for a frittata. We are looking for pastry cream. All right, so we are going to add slowly our milk, and you want to make sure that you keep whisking. The beginning is very, very important. And once everything seems pretty combined, now you can add all in once. This is not ready. We have to cook now this custard. Reason why we are going to place our egg mixture into the bowl again in our saucepan, and over medium heat. And on medium heat, you let it cook. This is now very important. You want to keep an eye constantly. You have to constantly mix this custard, otherwise it's going to cook at the bottom and it will burn. Once again, we have to make sure that we don't go over 85 degrees Celsius, because your eggs are going to crumble. This is already ready. As you can see, the consistency, the consistency is actually changing. It really takes a few minutes, because once again, there is a good amount of cornstarch here. And once it starts boiling and you see some bubble, you keep going for another 30 minutes. Sorry, 30 seconds. All right, Bangladesh, Ireland, Brampton. There you go. And looks like there is another question here. Let me see. So, looks like someone is asking if they can use vanilla essence. Yes, as long as it's natural. I don't know exactly about vanilla essence. I don't know if you're actually talking about vanilla essence or extract, but again, as long as it's natural as much as possible. Yes, essence, you can also use essence, I guess. So, okay, now, at this point, guys, this is the consistency that we want. Beautiful and creamy. This is also very hot right now. It will get thicker. And at this point, we add some butter to give some extra flavor and to make this custard also nice and shiny and more rich. If you are using for this recipe cream, heavy cream, I will not add butter. That will be a little bit too much. Because I'm using here whole milk, and this is the reason why I usually use whole milk. You can totally add butter to add some flavor. And once the butter is completely melted, you place this beautiful custard in a container and you let it cool at room temperature, and then in the refrigerator for at least an hour. You want this cream to be nice and cold. Make sure also that it doesn't stay outside for too long, no more than 2 hours. The eggs are cooked, but we are still cooking using eggs, so you want to make sure that you don't make anybody sick. At this point, very important, we are using some plastic wrap and this goes just right on the surface of your custard. This will prevent to form a custard skin. If you are not okay with using plastic on your food, then you can add a little bit of sugar. You can sprinkle a little bit of sugar, and the sugar will absorb the water from the custard, and it will keep the surface of the custard nice and smooth without forming any skin. That is just an extra trick. Don't worry about making your custard too sweet. I'm talking about sprinkling here and there a little bit of sugar. You let this cool on the counter and then in the refrigerator. All right, next step, the next one, we are going to make our ricotta filling. And I also want to say thank you to the people that bought me a coffee, that supported me with just a few coffee. There is a link in the description box below. It's called Buy Me a Coffee. If you want, you can tip me or you can buy me a coffee. And a few people did that this week. So I want to say thank you to Asia, Jenny, Lou, and Laura. Thank you so much, guys. All right, let's take care of ricotta filling. So for our ricotta filling, let me clean up the table a little bit. And let me make sure that we have everything here. Did you guys make the asparagus and cheese mini quiche this week or last Sunday? We made asparagus and cheese mini quiche. Absolutely delicious. It was so good, so tasteful, with a lot of cheese, pecorino, asiago, baked asparagus, and tomatoes. delicious, really, really, really good. So perfect. Once again, we watched the game and we had those mini quiche. Let me say hi to more people. We have Sonia, Vinita, and also looks like we have a question here. Okay, let me see, Francesco. Okay, so someone asked if, since I said that instead of custard, you can use mascarpone cheese, if the process will be the same. You don't have to bake or cook mascarpone cheese. You just combine together ricotta, whipping cream, sugar, and the other ingredients. And then instead of adding the custard, which is what we are using now, you just add mascarpone cheese. So it's very simple. You don't use eggs, and I'm going to show you that in a moment. So guys, for the filling, we have a lot of nice and beautiful ingredients here. Let's see. All right, and I also need my cream. And my custard. All right. So for the ricotta filling, guys, we need ricotta cheese, of course. Ricotta cheese, we need custard, we need whipping cream. Has been already whipped. We don't have to add anything here. No vanilla, no sugar, nothing. It's just whipped cream. We had some sugar. We are going to add some sugar, icing sugar. You can also add only sugar, not a problem. And then we had chocolate chips. I'm using mini chocolate chips because the desserts are small, so it's gonna look nicer. We have some pistachio, crushed pistachios. I kept them crushed instead of fine chopped. I like to bite something when I eat this kind of desserts because it will make everything taste better when you do that. Then we have orange, candied orange. As I said, you can also use orange zest. That is also good. But because cannoli come with orange, candied orange, I try to keep the recipe as authentic as possible, even though we are making a deconstructed, basically, cannoli Siciliani. What else? And then we have some cannoli shells. And I believe we are ready to start. So, as I said before, answering to the question about adding custard or mascarpone, all you have to do, here we have, without using a mixer by hand, you can do everything by hand. Here we have our mascarpone, we have our ricotta cheese. And you break it down. It looks like, until it looks like a cream. Now we are going to use our custard. As you can see, the custard is cold now and has a completely different consistency. It is pretty dense, which is what we want because this is going to hold the shape. And mascarpone cheese is also pretty good to hold the shape. It's going to make the filling also quite rich. This is why at this point, instead of adding custard, you just add mascarpone cheese. Simple and easy like that. But here we are adding custard. The custard is way more dense because once it gets in touch with the other ingredients, will soften up and become more creamier. So at this point, we are going to whisk everything together. You can totally use a hand mixer, but I'm just showing you, I want to show you that you don't have to, so you can do everything by hand. because once again, we want this dessert to be very, very simple and easy to make. Now, use some energy because you want those two ingredients combined properly. You don't want to see any lumps. And now, this is ready. We are going to add our icing sugar. How are we doing here? Teresa is asking, did you mix the egg yolk and the whole eggs with the sugar? Yes. With the pastry cream? Yes. Sugar and eggs. I'm seeing a lot of questions that have been already answered. So keep in mind, guys, that if you are missing something about this workshop, the workshop will be available right after. And if you have any more questions, you can also wait for the Q&A after the live. Or actually, I'm going to stay connected a little bit longer. So once the workshop is over, you can totally join me for the live, for the Q&A. My goodness, today. Okay, here we have our whipping cream. It has to be nice and cold. And this is the perfect consistency that we want. Not too stiff. And we are going to add this beautiful cream, whipped cream, to our ricotta filling. And now you just fold this cream in your ricotta mixture. Do we have any other question? Or everybody is fine? All right, now look at this beauty here. It's amazing. Ricotta, custard that has in sugar, vanilla, and lemon, and whipping cream. This is exactly what you want. Once everything is nicely combined, at this point we add our our chopped orange zest. Now, there are people that don't like the actual orange zest, the big parts, but because I still, and me too, to be honest with you guys, but because I find very important to keep it as authentic as much as possible, authentic. So I am still keeping the candied orange, but I'm going to chop them finely. So you taste the flavor of the candied orange, but you are barely going to feel it. So very finely chopped, almost like a paste. And hey, if you want to keep the way they are, if you want to keep them the way they are, not a problem at all. You can also do that. So now we are adding our finely chopped candied orange to our ricotta filling. We are adding chocolate chips. And as I said, I'm using mini chocolate chips. Let me add some more here. So there is another question. So someone is asking if this is the filling that you are also using for Sicilian cannoli. I will say yes. However, this might be a little bit too soft and too moussey, too much of a mousse consistency for your cannoli. But yeah, you can try, why not? Because see how when it comes to the ricotta filling for the cannoli, the ricotta is way more dense, and you want to keep it that way. So this one, I find it a little bit too creamy. But yes, you can try, you can pipe them in your cannoli. And if you worked your filling properly, it should be okay. So this is ready. I'm adding also a little bit of cinnamon. Cinnamon here, I know that not so many people talk about cinnamon, but cinnamon also makes a big difference when it comes to the best cannoli filling. It will intensify all the ingredients that we are using for this filling here, and just going to make this amazing. Taste really, really, really good. So now we are with the piping bag. We are going to fill our piping bag. If you want, which is something I will suggest, you can make this a few hours before or the night before and let it sit in the refrigerator. You will give some time to those filling to release the best flavor. And also you will give the filling some time to set. Okay, once you fill your piping bag, you secure it, twist your piping bag, just secure the bottom, and you cut the top. And at this point, we are going to fill our cups. And here we have our ingredients, because we still need some of them. And here we have our cups. I like to add some crushed cannoli shells, but I will do this only if you make these desserts a couple of hours before or the last minute. Otherwise, they are going to get soggy. Cannoli shells, unfortunately, they get soggy very easily. This is the reason why when you make cannoli, we don't do that the day before, really. Hopefully the last minute or a few hours before. Because I'm making this right now, I want to show you. And because I'm gonna eat them right after. So here, I'm going to add a little bit of cannoli shells, some crushed shells at the bottom. This smells so good. And now we are going to fill those cups. How do they look like already? Before we go ahead, let me make sure that we don't have any other questions. Hello from Winnipeg. Hi, Laura. Giuseppe is coming Rome. Yes. It did. Mr. Luna asking, please show us cannoli shells. It's a longer class, workshop. I might at some point make a master class on, or like a longer workshop about cannoli and everything around cannoli. Definitely, I might be doing that. So, and now we are going to crush more cannoli in the middle. And guys, I also want to remind you that a new workshop was posted. If you are interested in more Italian baking and more Italian recipes, there is a new workshop coming up on July 31st. And it's an hour-and-a-half workshop. The link is in the description box. And you are more than welcome to sign up if you wish. We will be making soft amaretti cookies, 4 ways. The classic vanilla almond. We will also be making the mocha one, which is chocolate and coffee. The third kind of soft amaretti will be pistachios. And the fourth one is hazelnut stuffed Nutella. You are more than welcome to get your ticket by clicking on the link below. Okay. Now here, how does it look like? Let's see if I can get some likes here at this point of the workshop. Now here, guys, we are going to add a little bit of finely chopped orange, candied orange. And some more pistachios. What is the reason why I like to use crushed instead of finely chopped? When we make this kind of dessert, where everything is pretty creamy, it's always good to